This case revolves around Leanne, a juvenile who was involved in a fatal incident that resulted in the deaths of two individuals, Dalton and Taylor. The complexities of the legal proceedings surrounding Leanne highlight issues of justice, rehabilitation, and systemic failures in the juvenile justice system. Background of the case: Leanne, having a troubled history with the law, was on probation for the third time at the time of the incident. His previous offenses included 2 assault charges, indicating a pattern of aggressive behavior. Despite this background, his current probation officer, who had a personal connection to the case, played a pivotal role in determining the outcome of his juvenile certification process. This probation officer had been closely involved with Leanne's case and had previously advocated for his rehabilitation. This personal attachment raised concerns about potential bias, as it could lead to unjust recommendations that favored Leanne, impacting the decisions made by the judicial system. In this instance, the probation officer provided a report to the 7-member Extended Juvenile Jurisdiction (EJJ) panel that omitted crucial information about Leanne's high school history, only covering events up to the 8th grade. This selective reporting influenced the panel's perception of Leanne's background, which ultimately swayed their decision. The EJJ panel's decision. The EJJ panel was tasked with determining whether Leanne should be certified as an adult based on the severity of his crimes. The vote was close, with a 4-3 decision against certifying Leanne as an adult. Among the panel members was the same probation officer who had supplied the incomplete report. This dual role created a clear conflict of interest. Leanne was only 80 days shy of his 18th birthday at the time of the incident, and many felt that his past behavior warranted adult certification. The serious nature of his actions, combined with his criminal history, suggested he should face more stringent consequences. Despite the panel's decision, the ultimate authority rested with Judge Carter, who had the power to accept or reject the panel's recommendation. Unfortunately, it appeared that Judge Carter had made his decision prior to considering the full breadth of Leanne's history, which included the recommendations of the state's forensic psychologist. This psychologist had reviewed Leanne's case and determined that, given the severity of the crime, he should be certified as an adult. The panel, however, did not reconvene to discuss this recommendation, a significant oversight considering the gravity of the situation. 2 innocent lives had been lost. The victims, Dalton and Taylor. Dalton and Taylor were beloved members of their community, and their deaths left a profound impact on family, friends, and local residents. Dalton was a promising young man with dreams and aspirations, while Taylor was deeply involved in community service, advocating for causes she believed in. Their loss was not just a tragedy for their families, but a loss for the community that they had both enriched with their presence. The circumstances surrounding their deaths were a direct result of reckless driving. Leanne, alongside another individual named Camille, engaged in street racing, a decision that would ultimately cost Dalton and Taylor their lives. The recklessness displayed during this event was not an isolated incident. It reflected a broader trend of dangerous driving behaviors that had increasingly plagued communities. The legal proceedings. In the aftermath of the incident, the legal proceedings revealed numerous systemic flaws in how juvenile cases are handled. One of the major concerns was the disparity in restitution amounts determined by different authorities. Initially, the Corrections Department determined that Leanne would be responsible for approximately $8,500 in restitution to the families of the victims. In contrast, the documentation provided by Dalton's family indicated that the amount owed should be over $29,000 due to various factors, including life insurance, student loans, and car payments. This disparity highlighted a serious flaw in the system, as both individuals were equally guilty in the eyes of the law. The changes initiated as a response to this case aimed to address these systemic issues. Firstly, reports submitted to the EJJ panel must now include complete information about a juvenile's history, ensuring that no pertinent details are left out. Furthermore, the intake parole officer assigned to a case can no longer serve as the juvenile's current probation officer, reducing conflicts of interest. The restitution process was also amended. Now, it falls to the judge rather than the Juvenile Corrections Department to determine the restitution amount, eliminating arbitrary caps previously imposed. This change allows for more equitable outcomes that reflect the true impact of the crime on victims' families. Moving forward, as Leanne underwent rehabilitation at Red Wing, the only facility in Minnesota dedicated to juveniles who commit serious crimes, concerns about the effectiveness of the program emerged. Leanne was placed in a program that did not provide specialized rehabilitation for those involved in violent crimes, leading to questions about the adequacy of the treatment he received. In fact, reports revealed that juveniles at Red Wing were receiving the same classes as those incarcerated for less severe offenses, such as theft. Veronica, a family member of the victims, raised valid concerns about the nature of rehabilitation offered to juveniles. She argued that juveniles, even those guilty of heinous crimes, often receive lighter sentences, which can undermine the severity of their actions. In this case, Leanne received a mere 25-month sentence, a stark contrast to the lives lost due to his reckless behavior. As discussions about juvenile justice reform continued, community leaders and activists began to advocate for changes that would prevent similar tragedies in the future. A proposal was put forward to raise the age of juvenile jurisdiction to 21, reflecting the understanding that brain development continues into the mid-20s. Supporters argued that extending juvenile status would provide additional opportunities for rehabilitation and would ensure that young offenders are held accountable for their actions. The call for reform was not limited to age restrictions. Community members emphasized the need for harsher penalties for reckless driving and more comprehensive educational programs focused on responsible driving and the consequences of dangerous behavior. There was also a push for increased public awareness campaigns to address the dangers of street racing and aggressive driving. Advocacy for change. In the wake of Dalton and Taylor's deaths, Veronica and other advocates began working with organizations like Street Racing Kills, aimed at raising awareness about the dangers of reckless driving. This initiative focused on education and prevention, working to ensure that no other families would endure the pain that Dalton and Taylor's families faced. Veronica took on the role of overseeing the organization in her area, dedicating her efforts to prevent further tragedies through community outreach and educational programs. Veronica's resolve to fight for justice extended beyond her personal loss. It became a mission to bring about systemic change. She recognized that the system needed to hold individuals accountable for their actions and ensure that justice was served not just for Dalton and Taylor, but for all victims of reckless behavior on the road. Conclusion? The tragic case of Leanne serves as a stark reminder of the failures within the juvenile justice system. While there have been steps taken to address some of these issues, the fight for justice and systemic reform is far from over. The loss of Dalton and Taylor should not be in vain. Their legacy must live on through advocacy for better policies, harsher penalties for reckless driving, and comprehensive rehabilitation programs tailored for those who commit serious offenses. As the community reflects on this tragic event, it is crucial to continue advocating for change that prioritizes the safety of all individuals on the road and holds offenders accountable for their actions. Only through continued efforts can we hope to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. The fight for justice is ongoing, and with it comes the hope for a safer, more just world for everyone.